Hey guys, okay, so it's been a while since I've done a video, and reason being I've been fairly sick, obviously. I wanted to open your eyes up to something that came across. My husband actually found it a few months ago, and I've had, to give you a background, I've had ulcers, I've had digestive issues, I've had, oh goodness, like everything, and I've had diagnosis after diagnosis after diagnosis from specialists to GPs to different doctors to everybody. And it's been an absolute roller coaster ride of what is wrong with me. And to be honest, the last time I went to the doctor, I've been losing weight like crazy. Everything upsets my stomach. It's just one of those things. And he had no answers for me. So he basically said, I don't know how to diagnose you. I don't know what label to put on it. And for all of us out there that have digestive issues or gastrointestinal problems, it would be great to have a diagnosis, because then you're like, okay, well, there's ways to treat it, or there's medication, there's natural ways, there's different types of food, there's diets, there's et cetera, et cetera. The list goes on and on and on. So legitimately, I have been dealing with all of this now since I was 17, and I'm 46 years old. So that's really freaking long time to be dealing with this issue. And in the last year, I have gotten horribly, horribly sicker, and no doctor can seem to help me. I've looked on the Mayo Clinic's website, because everybody here in Canada, which is where I am, is always like, oh, go to the Mayo Clinic, they'll heal you. But everything I've done for research on the Mayo Clinic's website has said, if you've had this and this and this and this done for test results, then the only thing we can really offer you is medication, which I've already been on, or hypnosis. And I mean, I'm just going by what I can find on their website. I haven't spoken to one of the Mayo Clinic doctors, but this is all besides the point, because I want to introduce something to you that no doctor in the history of me dealing with this has been able to come up with. That's 30 years. I have never heard of this. And the only reason I've heard of this is because my husband one night couldn't sleep and went online and started just crazy Googling. And I'm not talking about diagnose me Googling. I'm talking about, okay, what can we do? What can we figure out that's going to make my wife better? Because this is just getting stupid. And with the amount of weight I've lost, I don't know how much more I have to go. So one morning I wake up and he says to me, goes, have you ever heard of something called CCI? And I'm like, no specialist, no doctor has ever even remotely suggested me the acronym CCI. Now, what that basically means is that's complex carbohydrates intolerance. And I'm not here to sell you a magic pill. I'm not here to sell you food. I'm not here to sell you anything. There is no magic pill for this. This is strictly the way you eat. And if you do this and you eat to this, it's remarkable. It is like a night and day type situation. It does take about 2 weeks to kind of come into play, and settle all of your symptoms down, 2 to 3 weeks, just to give it kind of an extra little bit. But I am telling you, Google complex carbohydrates intolerance, CCI. It's ridiculous. And there are 3 basic types of complex carbohydrate issues. One is called carbohydrate tolerance, so that's basically what I just explained to you. The other one is malabsorption, so carb malabsorption, and the other one is carbohydrate maldigestion. So there's 3 different levels of this, kind of like IBS, where there's, IBSM, there's IBSD, and there's IBSC. So there's 3 variations of this CCI. Now, basically what the issue is your body is not going to be able to break down complex carbs. And as much as we all love our breads, our wheats, our oats, our milk, cheese, all that joyous stuff that comes along with complex carbs, and a lot of vegetables. So I always ate paleo, which I know I've preached in my recent videos. Eat paleo, eat the leaky gut diet, and it'll help. And that's great because CCI, actually the closest diet that it suggests to follow is the paleo diet, with some exceptions. So if you Google complex carbs, I mean, everything in their dog pops up except for like red meat, chicken. There's even in some of the spices that go on your meats when you go to the restaurants, there's complex carb spices that go on your meat. So you have to be kind of really aware of that. I don't want to get into this huge long ordeal, and I don't want to, I want you to go down the rabbit hole. I want you to Google what this is, because if you are like me and you have never been able to find a diagnosis for a gastrointestinal issue, and they keep lumping you in these stupid IBS categories, and that's great, but there's no cure. So let's work on something that I've never heard of, no doctor's ever pitched to me, and I've now been following the diet for a month, and it's only on the days where I cheat where I have pain. And I'm not kidding. It took about 2 to 3 weeks for it to kind of level off, and you don't have carbs in your system, so you're a little grouchy, you're a little kind of on edge because of the fact that you have no oomph in your step, and your body does get used to it, and that's why it takes about 3 weeks for it to kind of adjust and really kind of get used to what it can and can't have. So if you are going to eat a complex carb, just make sure it's super low in percentage. You will feel it, because on days where you're not eating complex carbs, I'm at 0 for pain. And I can't say that I've been at 0 for pain for years. I'm talking 20, 25 years. So people, I don't know if you've ever heard of this, and just a sec. So a lot of you are probably going, oh, the SIBO test, that will fix that. That will tell you, your doctor will tell you that the SIBO test will tell you whether or not you have CCI. Bullcrap. I had that test done, and when it came back inconclusive. And I Googled how many times it's effective. It's in the 80s percentile for SIBO tests being effective. And then once you have the SIBO test, they actually suggest you, if you speak to the gentleman or the test physician that does the test, they'll say you should do other tests after the SIBO test, because that will register different levels in your body of different gases, etc. And that will give you a better idea of what exactly is causing the problem. Problem is, they're expensive. And a lot of people don't have money to just kind of keep doing this all day long with medication, with tests, with doctors. It's like, here, just take everything I've earned and, go down the rabbit hole of money failure. So if you're like me and you don't know what to do, and every doctor has said, it's this or it's that or it's this. I have another video up about ulcers, and a lot of you out there in the world are like, no, that doesn't work. And then you read all the comments that are on there. It truly does work. So it's not always about, the big pharma and the doctors and saying you've got to take this for the rest of your life, and, the money that you're going to spend on this is insane. No, bullcrap. I'm sorry to say that, but I legitimately am sitting here right now, and after 30 years of being in pain and not one doctor suggesting this diagnosis, after 2 months, as long as I stick to the diet of the complex carb, absolute no complex carbs in my system, I am back to 100%. So please, I'm not saying do it, go out there, do it, and, all's well, that ends well. Everybody's different. There's an exception to every rule. So I'm not going to say that this is going to work for everybody. But it's not going to cost you anything. It's just going to cost you the way that you change buying your groceries. I take turmeric and I take ginger and I take all that extra stuff to help with my guts. But really, that doesn't do a whole heck of a lot. I even drink, chai tea, the Marsala tea, in order to kind of help with the healing process. Legitimately, it never decreased my pain. So this is the only thing I found that works, and it's freaking free. All it is a change in your diet. So if you're like me, just give it a whirl. But you got to stick to it. The first 3 weeks are the hardest. And if you have any questions, I will always answer your questions. You can see from all my posts. I'm gladly interactive with anybody that needs to post or have any issues whatsoever. So just food for thought. So hopefully it works. Let me know.